must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
In the last 6 to 7 months, the war in Somalia has changed goalposts. The government of Somalia seems to have changed its modus operandi. Instead of supporting AMISOM and supporting the efforts of the other agencies and other countries that have gone in Somalia to support them, to help the pacification of Somalia, the return of Somalia to the world order. The government in Mogadishu has instead initiated a move towards fighting the same governments that went to Somalia to help them. A few weeks ago, the Kenyan government asked the international community to investigate the reports that were circulating in international media with concrete evidence that money was being channeled through so many sources, including those from Qatar, Turkey, and some other countries, Norway, and so on, that were trying to kill the peace that we are trying to build in Somalia. The Somalia crisis dates back in 1991 when Ziad Barre was toppled. The Americans came and did a half job, left it in our hands for us to solve. We have tried our level best. The nationals of Uganda, Burundi, Kenya, Djibouti, Ethiopia have all perished in Somalia. They have perished in the sense to bring up a better Somalia for the people of Somalia, the best generation that will come. But these efforts are being hampered by President Mohamed Farmajo, who himself has turned on AMISOM and turned on Kenyan troops and made them enemies. The shooting down of a plane yesterday, a Kenyan plane that was carrying medical equipment, is a climax of all the activities, underground activities that have been conducted, supplied, equipped, logistically by the government of Somalia. It is sad, therefore, for a government that we went to help, where we have lost human resources, material resources, we have lost very many people in our places, injured, killed because of the fight in Somalia. Ugandans and the Kenyans have paid a very high price for this type of liberation, to liberate Somalia from the hands of the terrorist organizations that are still in that country. It is surprising, therefore, to hear that the same government that we are helping has become a puppet government supplied by Qatar and Turkey, importing the Middle East type of operations into the region. This region goes on, and it is bringing quite a lot of difficulties for the people of the region. As I said, the shooting down of the plane that was carrying medical equipment to help the people of Somalia who are dying at huge numbers, and reported very badly by the government in Mogadishu is a sign that there is some conspiracy between the militants who are government sponsored with those who are guarding in Baridera. The situation remains tense. We therefore leave it to the international community, to the African Union, to peaceful well-wishers to find out the link and the thread, the Qataris, the Turkish, the United Arab Emirates, the Norwegians, what role are they playing in destabilizing Somalia? We thank the troops on the ground, the Uganda People's Defense Forces, the Kenya Defense Forces in Kismayo, who have kept peace despite the provocations of the government in Mogadishu. We like to take this opportunity as a Pan-African organization and organizations in Africa to call upon President Faramijo to stop these war-like activities against the same people, allies who came to liberate Somalia from the hands of terrorist groups that keep on coming and multiplying in Somalia. This is the double-edged sword of the Somali government. They work both sides, they cut both sides. If we are wrong, the world will see. Thank you.
In the case of China, small reforms have been going on all the time in the political system. We fix problems here and there. But I said, the problem is the United States. Your political system was a product of pre-industrial era. And I made a forecast. I said, without significant, substantial political reform, my concern is, in your next elections, you will produce a leader worse off than George W. Bush.
Yes.
So then,
Yeah.
so it was you, it was not the Russians.
Yeah. So this is the Chinese humble advice we can offer. But China is a civilizational state. I remember when Henry Kissinger wrote his famous book on China, he started with this quote. He said, my goodness, look at this China. It's different. China uses this unique language, which started 3,500 years ago. It's 1,000 years earlier than ancient Greek, 1,005 years earlier than ancient Latin. But these two European languages were dead languages. Chinese are still using the same language. This line of culture and continuation of civilization, uninterrupted. So this is why we have, indeed, for instance, this whole idea of meritocracy. Why I say confident? I said with my debate with Professor Fukuyama, I said, if you look at the top leadership in China, we've just had the party's Congress, minimum requirement, 2 terms of provincial governor or similar position, which means you have to govern at least 100 million people, given the size of China, before you came to one of the top 7 positions, decision-making bodies. I said to Fukuyama, I said, with this Chinese methodology, meritocracy-based system, we can say with certainty, we can improve the system, there are problems, we can fix it. But we will not produce any leaders like George W. Bush. It's way below the Chinese bar. That's my point.
In many parts of Africa, there is always a struggle for power. Struggles for power begin from the struggles for internal democratization of our parties or units where we belong when we come to power. The politics of compensational structure, the politics of deficit, the beginning from a deficit that I had a deficit. I had a deficit before I was born or when I was born, I found myself in a poor family. It's the politics of compensation that haunts Africa today. Many people want to take on leadership, but it's the leadership as a basis of where you came from, or the leadership has qualities.
My father bought me my first shoe in 1981 from a Mr. Onyango on the street for 60 shillings because he could not afford the butter shoes. Why am I saying this? Today, as you can see, the gentleman who did not have shoes is sitting at the high table. With the son of the founding father.
Sasa kama nitaambiwa naongea siasa, lakini I'm not, I promise. I have no such intention. But, you know, when you hear people out there, you know, they talk, oh, huyu mtu fulani, dynasty hii, sijui dynasty hii. It's not about that. Leadership is not about where you were born. It's not about where you came from. It's not about the color of your skin. It is not about your tribe. It is just about a desire to serve, a desire to do good, a desire to make a difference in the lives of people. And anybody can do that.
For a leader to be a leader, he must have qualities. Identify himself with qualities of good behavior, qualities of no corruption, qualities of no hatred, qualities of engagement, discussion with others, collective responsibility, listening to the people. These are the qualities. A leader who delivers does not need to have a background. A leader who delivers can't deliver without a background of the rich or the poor. Many people in Africa seem to be misinterpreting that once you are born, you directed God to produce you in a particular family. None of us would have been where we are had we actually had a message from God where we would be born. I therefore look at this as compensational politics. Meritocracy is the answer. Meritocracy gives you the position that you yearn for. Meritocracy delivers you a position. Meritocracy gives you what you are doing for the people of Kenya or Uganda or whatever country where you are in Africa. But if you don't have these qualities, even if you are born from a family that had the whole world as theirs, then you cannot be a leader. It is therefore very important that the leaders who yearn to become leaders in Africa stop the usage of compensational politics. The politics that you want to compensate on others simply because you were poor, simply because you didn't go to a good school, simply because you don't drink in the same place where they drink, simply because you don't eat in that restaurant, simply because you don't have cars. That politics has got syndromes, traits of people who are either corrupt or have hatred or have a problem on itself. I therefore call upon you people to re-examine as Africans that wherever you come from, the background you come from, you are an African. You can deliver something for your country. You don't need to be able, you don't need to come to compensate for the lost past, because with such attitude, you will grab everything and your country will collapse. Thank you very much for listening.
A very good morning to you and welcome to Diaspora Dispatches, where we get to look at the news making headlines across Africa, as well as update you on the latest statistics when it comes to where Africa stands in the matters COVID-19. My name is Miriam Ogutu, and together with me on the other side of the political command center is none other than Dr. David Matanga, who is joining us here. Doctor, good morning.
Good morning, madam. Is it morning or afternoon?
I had to check my watch because usually we're used to having Diaspora Dispatches on top of after the noon, but yeah, it is still good morning, a few minutes past 11 a.m. here in East Africa. All right. So we have a lot to talk about. So I'll just go through some of the news making headlines, and then you will let me know what you think in some of these news items from across Africa. And then we shall look at some of the statistics a bit later. We'll start with a warning from World Health Organization and now W.H.O. is warning that coronavirus could kill up to 190,000 people in Africa in the first year if control measures fail to work, according to the WHO, and the numbers would overwhelm the vulnerable medical capacity in much of the continent, the organization warns, citing a new study. World Health Organization Africa Regional Director Machinzo Moete said transmission of the virus in the continent has been slower but could result to a longer outbreak. And then we move to Tanzania, where police in Tanzania's commercial capital, Dar es Salaam, have asked opposition MPs to voluntarily appear for questioning after boycotting parliamentary sessions, citing coronavirus fears. Now, last week, the main opposition party, Chadema, told its members of parliament to self-isolate for at least 14 days and stay away from parliamentary buildings in the capital, Dodoma. It took the decision following the death of 3 members of parliament in less than a fortnight, though the deaths have not been linked to coronavirus. And then we go to Nigeria. I think I have my papers here. And in Nigeria, a Nigerian medical team investigating reports of a rise in deaths in the northern state of Jigawa has said it has found no evidence to support the claims. The 5 medics were sent to the town of Hadeja following rumors of an increase in fatalities. The head of the investigation said 92 people have died in the space of 8 days, which was not unusual. 92 people dying in a space of 8 days is not unusual. Now, the investigations were unable to rule out that the deaths were linked to coronavirus, as test had not been carried out. And then still in Nigeria, and a government official who criticized an aide of Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari after he died of coronavirus has himself tested positive for the virus. Muazu Magaji was sacked from his post as commissioner in Nigeria's northern state of Kano after saying on social media he refused to grieve for Abba Kyari, the former chief of staff for President Buhari. On Thursday, Mr. Magaji posted on his Facebook page that he had tested positive for coronavirus and has been moved to one of state's isolation facilities. And then we go to Senegal, where Senegalese Supreme Court has upheld a ban on repatriating the bodies of citizens living abroad who have died of coronavirus. AFP news agency has reported the government of the West African nation had ruled out bringing them back to stem the spread of the coronavirus, but relatives had sought to overturn the verdict, saying it infringed their religious rights. The mainly Muslim country has recorded nearly 1,500 cases of the COVID-19 and 13 deaths. And in Tanzania still, and Tanzania's parliamentary speaker has threatened to press charges of theft against opposition members of parliament for boycotting parliament. Last week, the main opposition party, Chadema, told its members of parliament to self-isolate for at least 14 days and stay away from parliamentary buildings in the capital, Dodoma. It took the decision, as I said there earlier, after 3 members of parliament died in a fortnight. Speaker Job Ndugai said the opposition MPs have already been paid a 2-week advance for what is known as a seating allowance amounting to more than $48,000. And then we move to Lesotho, where the Prime Minister of Lesotho, Thomas Tambane, on Thursday reiterated his intention to retire by the end of July. This is in spite of the risk of prosecution for his alleged involvement in the murder of his former wife, from whom he separated in 2017, a voluntary decision due to his age. He said last week the governing party rejected his request for immunity from prosecution after his retirement. The Prime Minister and his former wife, Lipolelo Tambane, were in the midst of a divorce when she was shot dead in front of their house in the capital, Maseru. And then we move to Ethiopia, and Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has accused the opposition of trying to take advantage of the postponement of elections to seize power by unconstitutional means. In a speech posted on his Facebook page, the Nobel Prize Peace winner said those who push unconstitutional maneuvers to seize power will be punished by the law, he warned. But the Electoral Commission postponed the polls because of the coronavirus pandemic. This means there will be no election before the end of tenure for lawmakers in October, a situation synonymous with political crisis, according to some analysts and opposition leaders. Now, Ethiopia's constitution hardly offers any remedy on this specific case. On Tuesday, lawmakers formally seized the upper house of parliament so they can decide on an interpretation of the constitution, which could offer a solution to this impasse. And we move to ECOWAS, where the Economic Community of West African States has disassociated itself from reports of donation from Madagascar regarding a coronavirus herbal cure, the COVID organics. In May 6th, a press release, the ECOWAS Commission said it disassociates itself from claims that it had ordered a package of the COVID organics medicine from a third country. We wish to disassociate ECOWAS and its health institution, West African Health Organization, from this claim and inform the general public that we have not ordered, they say, the SVO medicine. The statement read in part, now the controversial Malagasy virus cure is already in West Africa after Guinea took delivery of a donation days ago. The Malagasy President Andre Rajulina told a national broadcaster that a donation had been made to 15-member ECOWAS bloc. And in South Sudan, the main opposition party, SPLM-IO, has distanced itself from the office of the president's collegial decision on the allocation of states. In a press statement issued on Thursday, President Salva Kiir says the decision was arrived in a meeting attended by his deputies, including SPLM-IO leader and first Vice President Dr. Riek Machar himself. It says the presidency agreed to allocate Central Equatorial, Eastern Equatorial, and Lakes Warrap, Northern Barrel Gazelle, and the United States to the incumbent government. And read outcomes of the fourth meeting of the peace presidency at Juba 1 include compromise on state allocations and relaxation of anti-coronavirus measures, while Jonglei, Western Barrel Gazelle, and Western Equatorial states shall go to the main opposition group, SPLM-IO. Upper Nile state has been allocated to South Sudan Opposition Alliance. However, Dr. Machar rejects the decision, saying President Kiir unilaterally made it, not through consensus. We see Doctor there, the fight on the states still continue there in South Sudan, and still in South Sudan. And the country has begun to ease some lockdown restrictions, including constraints on travel and trade, despite a surge in coronavirus cases. And cases of the COVID-19 in South Sudan so far stand at 90 after 60 new infections were confirmed on Thursday. In the latest directive by the presidency, businesses including bars, restaurants, border, rickshaws and others will now be allowed to reopen during non-curfew hours. The presidency has also reduced curfew time from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. to start from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. on March 22nd. The government announced a partial lockdown of the country before registering any case of the COVID-19. And then we go back to Nigeria, and the Kogi State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Saka Haruna, has said that the state is under pressure to declare that it has COVID-19 cases where there is none. The commissioner made the claims in a statement on Thursday. He, however, said the state would not succumb to the pressure. The statement followed a report which claimed that 4 persons suspected to be COVID-19 patients had died at the Federal Medical Center, Lokoja, in the last 1 week. He said that as the State Commissioner for Health, a member of the governing body of the FMC Lokoja, and also the incident manager for COVID-19 in the state, he had yet to be informed of any claimed cases. And then we go to Amazonia, where human rights defender Barrister Felix Agbor Nkongo has been dismissed from the University of Boya as an instructor, a decision signed by the Vice Chancellor Professor Ngomo Harris Manga Wednesday, May 6th. The letter indicates, according to Professor Ngomo Harris Manga, the decision was unanimously taken Wednesday by members of the university's disciplinary panel, summoned Tuesday to appear for questioning in connection with an examination question he set for law students on the Anglophone crisis last semester. The human rights defender boycotted his hearing on the basis that the decision violated his rights as an instructor of the university. And then we end with Zimbabwe, where Zimbabwe's main opposition bloc has suspended participation in all parliamentary proceedings after the expulsion of their 4 legislators. The decision was taken after a breakaway faction of the opposition Movement for Democratic Change Alliance allegedly connived with the ruling Zimbabwean African National Union Patriotic Front, ZANU-PF, for the dismissal of the 4 legislators. The 4 expelled legislators are Charlton Hwende, Prosper Mutsimani, Tabitha Kumalo, and Senator Lillian Timvios. On Thursday, Job Sikala, acting national chairman of the MDC Alliance, announced the expulsion of the 3 leaders and who were linked to the breakaway faction. However, he said a final decision about the withdrawal will be taken after consultations with the party structures and other interest groups. And now the MDC Alliance's breakaway faction, broke away from the one that was being led by Chamisa Doctor. And that is the latest from Africa this morning. A very good morning to you. Were you following the stories there from across Africa? Yes.
Went asleep.
Okay.
Beat, but
you're back.
I'm back.
Very good. So
Yes,
Zimbabwe's in.
Very much, Miriam. There is one story that strikes that. There's one story that has struck me, and that is the story of Tanzania. Police are looking for the MPs
to return the money, the allowances. I think they're right. They're right on that regard, because if you've already been paid in advance and you're not appearing to do that job, then you might as well return the money.
They have committed fraud.
Yes.
This type of victimization in Africa should do. Why don't they?
Now they're being charged with theft.
Why don't they leave the parliamentary systems work with them? The speaker should leave parliamentary systems to work with them instead of having the police charging them, because they got the money, but they fear for their personal life if they want.
Yes.
Why doesn't the parliament tell them to return the money? So that you stop victimization of MPs. The whole question of MPs, there's a problem in Uganda. You saw the stand-up.
Yes.
You talked about the stand-up between Uganda Parliament and the President. Yesterday, the Uganda Parliament passed a warning, a very serious motion. That was even supported by President Museveni's own party, telling him to stop poking his nose and the nose and the mouth in the affairs of the parliament. Hey, I was watching the proceedings on how even members of the party of NRM, if things go the way they are going now, and the people in NRM are standing up to speak, then things in Uganda are going to be different. And I don't know how they will look like, but at least for me, I am happy that there is some form of people coming up to speak against an institution that has been parliament, judiciary, and executive. One in one. President Museveni he muzzles the parliament.
He does.
Have you ever seen a budget where he says, "This is my budget"? and he writes a note to say whether you want it or not,
it will pass.
Don't change. Pass it. It's just for you to read. Otherwise, I will not sign the papers.
I'm shocked they've grown some
Parliament,
yes.
Yeah. Parliament and Parliament in Africa and the executive plus judiciary, they have never been at working relationship. In Kenya here, Maraga is just doing some things, very good things towards the end of his tenure. One of the things he did this week, very excellent thing to allow, if you are mentioned in a corruption case, all your property is kwanza tunashika hiyo.
If you cannot explain how you gotten that property, the government will seize it.
Yes, but first is seized. You don't dispose it off. If you are caught, you haven't seen the law itself. If you are mentioned in corruption scandal, everything you have now is under the scrutiny until you dispose of the case. Which is very good. It is a deterrent method against these guys who corrupt money and then send the money at night to churches. Have not that man there sends money to churches at night. What is he trying to do, man?
So,
okay,
yes.
fine.
So this matter of Tanzania, Doctor, because these members of parliament, they have a point. They fear for their lives. 3 of their colleagues died, and nobody explains the reason for their death. And the coronavirus cases in Tanzania is there. The government is not very open and transparent about the numbers there and what it is doing to, it's just bringing out politics. And now they're saying we fear for our lives. We're not going to go to parliament until maybe certain measures are put in place to ensure we are safe. Why is it so difficult for the government to hear that?
Tanzania has puzzled me, just as it has puzzled so many people. I don't know what has gone in Mr. Magufuli's head. And I believe when Raila Odinga will talk to him, that this COVID-19 is very serious. And the situation in Tanzania seems to be a situation you can see the clouds on the horizon of wait and see a danger. It is like the situation also here in Nairobi, in Kenya, is beginning to worry my heart. You not say I'm being jolly, but some part of me, whom you really know when Matanga is jolly. Some part is worried. Kenya needs to do what we call fatigue evaluation. Stock taking, but fatigue. Are we moving forward or we are moving backwards? Are the methods that we put in place working or not working? If not working, anzia curfew, dusk to dusk, dawn to dawn. Curfew. Tukae nyumbani. Sasa, we leave you time. If that comes to where it comes, we give you time to look for all this equipment, testing equipment. Mulete watu wataanze kutest. Another method is to just bring these things in cities like Mombasa and let everybody go for a week. Watch a test gonge 2 weeks to gonge test peke yake, so that we get the shaft out of the whole thing. Because the way things are happening here, we could be making very terrible mistakes. We are hiding something which we don't know where it is. A man in his sleep, about 20 people also disappear in Mombasa. So what is their aim? Where are they going? I'm told the government is marring at bringing, we have just read on the newspaper now, for curfew to start at 3 p.m. How will that help COVID-19? Just return, close the restaurants. Close them. Close them, close the restaurants, because the restaurants are bringing a problem. Miriam, the restaurants are bringing a problem. We are talking, it emanated from Tanzania, that's why we are coming here. The border, the Tanzanian border is empty, it's hollow. Close it.
Because somebody who tested positive for COVID-19 in Homa Bay had come from Tanzania through unmanned routes there at the borders of Kenya and Tanzania. So it is posing a great challenge in Kenya in its fight against COVID-19, while in the other side of the border in Tanzania, the government there is very laxed about its fight against the COVID-19.
Yes, it is something that we should not take for granted, Miriam. Let government decide. If Tanzania is not cooperating, tuachane hawa. Umesikia? Tuachane hawa. Tufunge border yetu, and that we clean the mess. Unaona hiyo? If Tanzania does not want to cooperate, results will be seen later. Umekumbuka Mbeki and Zuma. Mbeki said there was no HIV positive. There was no HIV in South Africa. Today, where Mbeki is hiding. Because if you look at the number in South Africa, of what is in South Africa, you just run to hide.
All right. And Doctor, as we speak right now, World Health Organization is now keeps changing goalposts when it comes to the numbers that they're foreseeing in the future about Africa. And right now, remember the other day they had said about 300,000 Africans might die, and now they're coming out and saying that coronavirus could kill up to 190,000 people in Africa in the first year if control measures fail to work. This is according to World Health Organization. So they're warning us if the control measures, we don't heed to them, about 190,000 of us might die in the continent. Even as Africa, you know, the spread is not as much compared to the rest of the world. But also about a few days ago, they'd come out and said about 300,000 Africans might die. So which is which? Why do they keep changing this goalpost? What is this mapping they're doing? And what is some of the methods they're using in Africa? Or we have challenged their initial modeling, because they had modeled so many of us will be dead, and that did not happen by the end of April. So now they are saying they're giving us different figures. Can we rely on these figures in World Health Organization? And if at all whatever they're saying could be true, then what other measures should we put in place to ensure we don't see 190,000 of us dead here in the continent?
Exactly. Everybody is focusing on Africa. Why are they focusing on Africa when the disease is killing in Europe? They are fighting Africa. They are stopping Madagascar to produce its yummy liquid. Yet, clinical trials are taking place in US, They're trying chloroquine, macrochloroquine, and what this mixed this. Let Africa also start try its yummy. I've told you 2 friends from Zimbabwe got the yummy liquid. It's very nice.
The yummy liquid.
It clears your throat within 2 days.
You're feeling better.
Throat, everything. Then nasikia what they said, once you drink it, then you go to the toilet.
It cleanses. Is it a cleanse? It cleanses.
Yeah.
That sounds like a detox remedy there. Is it this yummy, doctor? Is it really for the cure of COVID-19?
Yes, detox. It works detox kwa hapa.
Or it's multi-purpose? Okay.
And then it enters the lungs. Inatoa hiyo uchafu, ushu, inasukuma. When you go to the toilet, you must put on a radio for people not to hear what you are bringing out.
And speaking of which, Doctor, the Economic Community of West Africa States, ECOWAS, has disassociated itself from reports of a donation from Madagascar regarding a coronavirus herbal cure. Now, we know for a fact that Guinea-Bissau took a delivery of the donation, and in that, President Andry Rajoelina, the president of Madagascar, came out and said, you know what, even the rest of the 15 states of the ECOWAS, we are going to give them some of this yummy, as you call it. But ECOWAS yesterday put out a very strong statement and said, oh no, we did not order for this, we don't want it. Who is behind that?
Why don't they wait to die? They don't want it, and there's no medicine until next year. If this yummy thing can help you, take it. Try.
There's no harm.
There's no harm. If you have been diagnosed with this disease, and then they said, drink this yummy thing from Madagascar. Maybe nagonga, najaribu. Because the medicine for the bazungu, which people want, look here, the people want to sell the medicine. At the end of the day, medium, any Kenyan, any Ugandan, any Tanzanian, any African, Zimbabwe, listen to me. It is the sale of that vaccine. When you see Bill Gates ringing Ramaphosa, and Ramaphosa appointing Strive Masiyiwa to be the person to go around Africa to look for, who is Strive Masiyiwa? Strive Masiyiwa is Kofi Annan. Footsteps and the image, only that one is a Ghanaian and the other one is a Mafikizolo Zimbabwean. Both of them are Mafikizolos. Kofi Annan took part in the coup that overthrew Nkrumah. Look at the history. They celebrated. Did you see Kofi Annan and the Rawlings working together? Rawlings wanted to sweep him. Had he been in Ghana, he would be down. He would have gone 6 feet down a long time ago. Because the Canadians, when Rawlings took over, he shot all these old feudal type of chiefdoms and the mafias, cartels. So that is the problem. They want to sell the vaccine. And this campaign is being led by none other than the Honorable Chairperson of African Union, Ramaphosa. So that is why they can't allow Madagascar to sell something. Then now they have gone to West Africa. The French have said, don't buy it. So that this yummy thing. I don't know when President Uhuru Kenyatta is ordering for one plane to carry this yummy. We try. We are looking for medicine. It could work very well on the island and not work very well on the mainland. It would work efficiently on the mainland and both on the island. Let's try it. After all, for God to make you a president when you're a DJ. Thank you, Mr. DJ.
There's a purpose for that.
You come from God's making.
Yes.
Yes.
Very true. So now, Doctor, we seem to be having another problem in South Sudan. We have two things. The government of South Sudan is planning to ease lockdown restrictions, including constraints or travel and trade, despite a surge in coronavirus cases. South Sudan right now, the cases are at 90 with 16 new infections, which were confirmed on Thursday. So the numbers there is 90. It has been rising steady but surely. And we see the government there's lifting. Kenya is planning to put more restrictions. South Sudan wants to lift restrictions, and yet the numbers there have gone up. And also the next issue is that we seem to be having a problem with the coalition there, and the main opposition party, SPLMIO, has distanced itself from the office of the president, that the President Salva Kiir made a decision on certain allocation of states, and a few states were allocated for the incumbent government, and then other states were allocated for the opposition group. I will not go through them there, SPLMIO. However, Dr. Machar rejects the decision, saying President Kiir unilaterally made it, not through a consensus. What I don't understand, Doctor, here is why, it's like Kenya here, you say, okay, we have 47 counties. So Nairobi, Kiambu, Kajiado, and the rest, this will go to, say, Tip party, which I don't know where it went to, and others will go to. Does that help in uniting South Sudanese if you will allocate states to the different parties there? Are we not supposed to be working to get a more united South Sudan, or how are these states there, and how is it working there for South Sudan, the state matter, allocating it to different parties?
First of all, let me come in and tell the people who want to be told. The peace in South Sudan depends. The peace in South Sudan depends on the credibility of the key players. Depends on how much money we should invest in. Depends on accountability that is coming. I told you there is going to be a hybrid court that is set up. A hybrid court that is set up by the transitional government. That court is where the making and the breaking of the peace process will begin. At the moment, the international community must run fast and help South Sudan. Keep pumping money, pumping resources, stabilize the peace agreement before these rebels turn guns on each. The troops are assembled, turn guns on each other, which God forbid should not happen. But we better do it quickly, faster. That is my advice.
All right. All right, there, and one of our viewers here from, I think, from Cameroon, is saying, the one who called us earlier here, I think he's in the French-speaking part of Cameroon, and he's saying that he wants us to talk about the lost president, Mr. Biya. He's saying they have one president that is completely out of line and is lost, and for the criminal government that he is leading there. Doctor, do you have any kind words for President Paul Biya of Cameroon?
No. I don't have any words for President Paul Biya. Neither will I have words until we meet in hell or heaven. Stop. He has molested people too much for too long. He has killed Amazonians. He gives us wrong figures of COVID-19. His wife has a hair for $1 million. People are dying of hunger. When Miriam has got very beautiful free hair there. Beautiful. Me, a woman who comes with hair which is colored, that's what I don't want. I want that type of hair, man. Black, beauty, long. Huyu mjamaa, she went to buy, Paul Biya's wife went to buy hair from dead people in India, in Brazil for $1 million. Africa, where were we bewitched from? Which witch is this who came and threw a spell on this continent? When the people don't have hospitals, you buy hair for $1 million. No. No.
All right. And there seems to be a problem, Doctor, in Ethiopia. And you've been saying this for quite a while now. And the Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is suspecting that the opposition is trying to, plan a coup against his government.
That the opposition is planning a coup against the government.
Trying to take advantage of the postponement to seize power by unconstitutional means. That means a coup. Yes.
It will not last. That's it. The other man, Ethiopia was, the new Ethiopia we have came as a result of Zenawi. Zenawi made Ethiopia what it is, productive, very security conscious. He was able to keep Ethiopia together. This NGO man called Abe, his NGO, he has never worked anywhere else except in NGOs. From nowhere, people gave him work. Immediately he started doing a few good things. Then he became very bad. To the extent that now Ethiopians are looking for another savior. It goes back to the history of the world. That a country that had a king or a queen, and once that king is brutally killed, the country does not have peace at all. I can give an example of Uganda. From the time Kabaka Mutesa died, Uganda has not had any peaceful coexistence anywhere. Thank you.
All right. Okay, thank you so much, Doctor, there. Now,
the kings,
yes.
The kings in the grave come back to haunt the leaders present. At least in Uganda, we are quiet. That King Mutesa is still quiet. But at times he comes up and haunts the whole administration. So we must cleanse these spirits. Ethiopia must find the grave of Emperor Haile Selassie, bury him properly, then Ethiopia will stabilize. Somalia must find the ghosts. Those who killed Ziad Barre must start thinking, repenting, cleanse the spirit. The same goes on and on. You see most of the countries, Nigeria will never stabilize after the assassination of Prime Minister Baba Tafawa Balewa. Has it ever stabilized? Burkina Faso, has it ever stabilized? Show me. Liberia, the slaughter of Tolman by Sergeant Doe, summary executions. Liberia has never been the same. Salif Jackson was there, the woman gave to where is now staggering, where with the foot, the ball, where with the ball, the ball is going to end in the Atlantic Ocean. Which other country can I show you? Mozambique. Until we find who killed Samora Machel and lay the blame and the rest. Samora Machel, the plane disappeared. Nobody has ever followed up who did destroy the plane of Samora Machel. The wife just moved on, started marrying several other people.
Just one person, and several others.
I don't.
Just one person, and it's South Africa.
Mozambique.
Yes.
Mozambique now. Have I told you what Tanzania has done? Tanzanian troops are entering Mozambique to flush out the rebels.
The Al-Shabaab in Mozambique.
Yes, 4 days, 5 years ago. Miriam, you might have listened to me wherever you were. I told people that there is a proxy war in East Africa. Didn't I? Even last year I was telling you. Now it has brought its head up. Mozambicans are worried. Tanzanian army has to enter that place. Let me call you.
All right. As Dr. handles that, perhaps I just go through. Are you able to speak, or I continue? I give the statistics quickly. Some of the African countries. I will not look at all of them for the interest of time there.
Yeah, we have short over time.
Yes.
And my time also.
You seem very tired, Doctor. There, you woke
I'm
up.
not tired.
Yes.
I just miss you.
You're just relaxed.
I miss you. Don't change the language.
There's something you're saying about Mozambique that was that you did not complete about the
Okay.
Yes.
Mozambique. When the French came to build a railway to nowhere, I stood up as the only African who said, this railway is a trap. Tanzanians didn't see it. I went to Kilimanjaro Hotel and I told a friend of mine there that this railway of the French, why are they building there? They were looking for those diamonds, for the hot springs, gas, oil, and other minerals that are in the Beira Triangle, where Zambia pours everything on the Indian Ocean. And the people did not listen to me. The Mozambicans themselves did not listen to me. They thought that I was just a man looking for money or looking for fame. Now, today, I'm vindicated. Very much vindicated, Miriam.
Mm-hmm.
Al-Qaeda group, sponsored by Qatar, imesimama huko, wanatafuta oil na hot spring. Sofala is the best place where you can have the best tourism. You know, when the Portuguese came to Kismayo and Mogadishu, on their way back, they carried along porters, Somali porters. On their way back from the Mozambique, they carried Makonde. We have a tribe in Kenya, and then we have a tribe, Somali tribe, in Mozambique. So the Al-Qaeda of Mogadishu and the Al-Qaeda of Mozambique are linked. And Tanzania has to work hard to eliminate that faction, because this could be affect them in Zanzibar and Pemba, which are closely around
Mozambique,
a few thousand miles away from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Any more expert can tell you that I am here.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you, Doctor. Now we've seen the numbers in Sao Tome and Principe going up at 187. 4 people have died there and 4 have recovered. South Sudan right now stands at 90 cases, and the government wants to lift some of the restrictions there. South Africa still leads with 8,232. 161 people have died, over 3,000 have recovered, and then Burundi still at 15. I don't know, these figures from Burundi, can we trust these figures from Nkurunziza? And one
No.
Mm-hmm.
I trust it, because in there is no mess. When they say sit in the house, you sit, otherwise they kill you.
Yeah, that is very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so the figures coming from countries like Uganda, countries like Rwanda, they are true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Burundi, true.
Okay.
Zimbabwe, true. South Africa, true. Kenya, true. Because Kenya, people who are inside are inside. Yeah.
Okay. And we see the numbers in Somalia going up, and right now Somalia has 928 infections, 44 deaths, 106 recoveries, and in Zimbabwe the cases there are 34 with 4 deaths and 5 recoveries. Sudan, 930 confirmed cases, 52 deaths and 92 recoveries, and in Cameroon confirmed cases is 2,267. 108 deaths, 1,002 recoveries, and yet President Paul Biya has not come out to address this matter, with the country having over 2,000 infections there. And very interesting. And in Ghana, about 3,091 confirmed cases, 10 deaths, 320 recoveries, and 303 recoveries. And in Nigeria, confirmed cases is at 3,526, 107 deaths, and 603 recoveries. Rwanda, the cases there at 271. 133 people have recovered. We've not seen any deaths from Rwanda. And in Madagascar, the land of the yummy yummy, as you say, confirmed cases there is 193. Recoveries is 101, and we've not seen any deaths there in Madagascar. Yes, and in Mozambique, 81 cases.
Recovery is what?
The recoveries in Madagascar is 101, and the total number of confirmed cases is 193.
So in essence, there are only 92 people in it.
Yes.
Who are infected. You can see that.
Who are taking their yummy now, yes.
Who are taking that yummy thing.
Yes. So the total Africa statistics today, confirmed cases is 53,589, 2,074 deaths, recoveries is 18,316, infected countries is 54 with one country virus-free, and that is Lesotho. So that is just, in a nutshell, a few of African countries and how we stand today in terms of the statistics of COVID-19.
Thank you very much for me. The whole thing was Miriam's making. And for me, I've talked, I'm now tired. I just want to thank everybody who has been watching us, who continue to watch us. Where is the deputy president? Where is he hiding? Smoke him out through Pilipili, Tupakwa, the hall. Let him come out and help President Uhuru Kenyatta to create a state, to work together as Kenyans. People need your services now. You can't hide and then send food at night. Then you send people to take video as you give them food to say, thank you, Deputy President. Then you're undermining the president. Subversion. Subversion. Full stop. The Deputy President is subverting the powers of the president. There's a tape that has just come where people are thanking the president for the food. Stage managed politics, compensational politics, politics of hatred, hostage-taking politics. That if you don't vote me, all Kikuyus in the rift will die. That's the phenomenon the deputy is using. And that is repeated by the Kikuyu like a Kimani Nkunjiri, who says, we need peace here. So peace cannot be there because one man is not voted. Isn't it the time for people in Kenya to think beyond this one man? Surely? If you don't vote him to become the president, peace will not be there. Isn't this what Museveni started telling us in 1981? That's exactly what Museveni did. So be careful, you people in Kenya. I wish you good luck. But I've been there, I saw. The last day Museveni left, Speak Hotel to go and join his boys whom he had arranged to disappear. Some of us were there. I saw it. And Obote said, don't touch him. He's a fellow fighter. People wanted to stop him from departing. I remember very well, in Speak Hotel, that night we had a drink, so many of us, but the following morning, the man disappeared. Some of my friends were with us. They disappeared too. They stole all the files and phew. So this type of subversion could be similar. We started being sabotaged in 1980, 81, 82, everything we are making, even offerings, posts. We offered the post to opposition to come down. Yes, the election was not fair, was not free and fair. We stole the election. But when we gave concessions, our president, the late Obote, started telling us we are manufacturing rumors against freedom fighters. Where are we now? Is gone down the grave we are still here suffering. So the situation of DP here in Kenya is similar to that of Museveni. Museveni left for the bush in a similar manner. So when he defeated to win election, the guy could slip into the bush. The authorities should watch out, not me. If you think I've talked nonsense, mutaona, I might not be here. These are, you see, the president puts there a team, Miriam, for where money can be selected and food can be bought. You are sending money at night. People are coming on social media with a tape saying, we thank the deputy president for having sent us food. Is here. And the people are posting it back to tell the president that as you are sleeping, there is someone sending money quietly at night to buy food, to cause an insurgency. Insurgents is in a double way. Send Sudi to go and just meet to see Raila's face, then come back to Facebook to write, to cause despondence amongst all the parties. Then you see some people are being told we shall be together. This thing is not working. Uhuru must resign. Who is doing this thing? This thing is being done by the man who is hiding in the hole. He's hiding in his house. Either he fears COVID-19 because it could strike him, I don't know. But he's doing these things clandestine. And this is subverting the powers of the president. We have done our bit this morning. We leave you to relax with your families. Wash your hands. Keep a distance. Report cases of coughing, sneezing. Don't sneeze in public. Cover it here. Wear a mask. Don't break the curfew. Sit at home. God is working a miracle. Thank you very much, viewers.
All right. Thank you so much, Doctor, there. And thank you so much, our viewers. We'll see you here on Sunday for another edition of Africa Showdown. My name is Miriam Mugutu. Good afternoon.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.